good morning for people from the US or Canada, and welcome to this session. My name is Philippe Bonneau. I'm working at GRAITEC as product marketing manager. And we have the pleasure and the honor to have Asif Moghal from Autodesk. Welcome, Asif. Asif is a director for design and manufacturing market and industry development at Autodesk. And today the session will be about unleashing your digital superpower. So it sounds very amazing title, and it will be a great presentation for sure. So let me start with a very quick introduction. All right. So I will say the floor is yours, Asif. So feel free to share your screen because today you are going to present live, which is always exciting for our attendees. So thank you so much for that.
Okay. Thank you, Philip. And thank you to the team at GRAITEC for inviting us to come and share with you something that I feel very passionate about, which is the design and manufacturing industry. So as Philippe mentioned, I'm the Director for Market and Industry Development at Autodesk for the D&M section. My role involves me speaking a lot to customers, people that use our technology, actually people that don't use our technology, and people who are sort of in and around the industry. So what I'm about to share with you is, if you like, a collection of our findings of what the challenge is for design and manufacturing today and what it could be if we do unleash what we call these digital superpowers. So the starting premise is that we look at the manufacturing sector, and it's really made up of a really diverse range of companies. They're as diverse as the products that they make. They're as diverse as the markets they serve. They're as diverse as the people they employ to bring those products to market. But despite that huge diversity, there are three things that all design and manufacturing customers have in common, no matter who they are. All of them want to make better products. All of them want to sell more, and all of them want to do that to generate greater value for their business. Now, each company's definition of better, each company's market, who they sell to, would be different. And each company's definition of value, of course, is going to be different. But all of these three things, all of our customers have in common. And if we look back over a few years in terms of the pressure that our customers have gone through as they make their products, as they sell them, and as they generate value, we've seen a slow buildup of pressure on the sector. We know that for a whole bunch of reasons, more and more companies' products are delayed getting to market. So 45% of products are delayed by at least a month. If you're in the project business, 50% of your projects will experience some sort of scope creep. And that's not good for a manufacturer. We know that 72% of products fail to hit their profit targets, which again, these things impact the cash flow of our customers, and those aren't healthy situations to be in. And of course, we know that productivity globally has been plateauing. It's not going up consistently. It's just staying at around about the same level. So these are the challenges that our manufacturing sector has been experiencing slowly but surely, year over year over year. And this is all before COVID hit. And then, of course, that awful pandemic hit, and it gave rise to additional challenges. So now manufacturers have to struggle with rising costs and inflation. They have to struggle with the disruption of the supply chain. And almost worse is they've got a skills shortage. We desperately need skilled, talented people to come into this industry to solve the sorts of problems we're experiencing today and solve for what we might experience tomorrow. So every time I talk to a customer of ours, we really see these challenges coming to life. And what our customers tell me is that, look, we get the fact that we need to digitize, but we need to switch from the old way of working. We need to find what the new way of working is. And digital plays a huge role in establishing what this new way of working is. And as I mentioned, I speak to executives from companies of all shapes and sizes on a regular basis. And what I'm picking up is a high level of frustration. And the reason why they're frustrated is that They are being bombarded with meaningless technological jargon, like the sort of things you see here on the screen. Industry 4, PDM, PLM, software as a service, big data, IoT, XR, VR, AR, blockchain. All of these terms, they mean nothing to the men and women who run the design and manufacturing companies we speak to. They're just technology. And what I hear from the execs I speak to on a regular basis is this. They say, look, Asif, I know I need to digitize. You don't need to convince me that digital is the future. But if you walk inside my company, what you'll see is a company that's really struggling. I struggle every day with broken processes. I struggle every day with having to manage a mix of digital and analog systems. I struggle every day trying to get different systems that aren't connected to communicate with each other. And this is the chaos I need to manage. And I know I need to digitize. I could start anywhere, and that's my challenge. And this is the challenge we hear from a lot of our customers all the time is, don't tell me I need to digitize. Tell me and help me choose the best place to start. Because that's the reality, is our customers have a number of choices of where they could start. And it's up to us to help them find the best place to start with digital that would have the biggest impact on their business. And so what I'm going to talk about is the sort of conversations we typically have with customers when they tell us, look, where should I start? So the first thing, and this might come as very counterintuitive, is don't start with technology. Because what we'll do is we'll go back to just throwing technological jargon and buzzwords out to our customers, especially the people at the top. It'll mean nothing to them. Instead, start with your people. Assemble the right team to take your digital project forward. Now, that team could come from anywhere in the business, but if you look at a chart called the diffusion of innovation, there's a general population of people that exist inside a company. You have your innovators, where there's around 2.5% of any population could be regarded as an innovator. You have your early adopters, which is 13.5%. Then you have your early majority, the late majority, and the laggards. And so one of the common things that we see is that sometimes people put the wrong team together to drive a digital transformation project together. It can't all be innovators. It can't just be early adopters. You need the right balance of people from across your organization. So the way we look at it is, who are the 16%, the innovators and early adopters that could then influence the early majority by crossing the chasm and start to drive some buy-in to the digital strategy you develop. So that's the companies that do these kind of things are the companies that enjoy a much higher level of success. So don't start with technology, start with your people. Then when you have your people together, have these conversations, just ask them these 3 questions. Call them the super questions. Where are we today as a company? Where do we need to be? And what's stopping us moving forward? It's a great discussion to have, and what we find is it uncovers all sorts of insights, all sorts of challenges, all sorts of assumptions of why we keep doing things the way we do them and how we could do them better, but no one's really committed to trying a different way. And the answer to that last question, what's stopping us, should form the very starting point of your digital transformation strategy. And that's the point in which to then evaluate not technology, but the digital superpowers that could enable you to get to where you need to be. And in our experience, there's 5 digital superpowers, and I'm just going to walk us all through those superpowers one by one. So the first superpower is mass customization. This really talks about the ability to take a product or a service and personalize it and customize it to almost uniquely suit a segment of your market or a specific customer. Now, we know this is worth doing because according to research, 1 in 5 customers are willing to pay more for personalized products, about a 20% premium. And in many cases, they're prepared to wait longer for it. So that sounds like a great superpower to have for a design and manufacturing company. And that's the route that GEA, FS Elliott, Foster & Partners, and Claudius Peters took. They decided that mass customization was going to be their superpower. And they achieved some great results from it. And they did it by looking at design automation. So what needs to be automated in the design processes, and who do we give that automation power to? Does it stay inside engineering? Do we spread it out to our sales teams? Sometimes can be a bit risky. Or do we give that automation power to our customers so they can self-configure certain types of products and bypass the traditional development process, go straight to procurement, straight to production, and straight out? So if this is a superpower that you think is critical for you, you need to evaluate the right levels of design automation and availability. And maybe this could be the disruptor for your business. Let's go on to digital superpower number 2, which is called digital collaboration. And here we talk about communicating with your wider stakeholder network, your wider value chain, with increased speed, with increased effectiveness, and increased quality. Now, we know this is a powerful thing to develop because of the impact that improved collaboration can have holistically across your business. Yes, it does increase productivity, improves, of course, the quality of the communication. And yes, it improves transparency. But the last one is the one that really grabs my attention. It's about your people. It just improves morale. And if you think about how good you feel if you're working in a situation, in an environment where information is shared, you always have the latest information, the most accurate information at your fingertips. You can make confident decisions based on real data. That's the power of digital collaboration. So it's an excellent superpower to develop. And that's the journey that people like Benson Industries, Newag, and Nestle took. They decided that digital collaboration was going to be their superpower. And they invested in it. And they invested in it by finding out ways to seek input into their projects much earlier in their project life cycle, digitally. But the secret really here is how they validated that input up front. So when they receive feedback on any aspect of a project, they didn't have to go away and see if it would work or not. They could validate it digitally almost immediately, go back to the customer or go back to the person that originated that feedback and say, it's a great idea, it would work, or that's not a great idea, it won't work. So if this is a superpower that you want to develop, then you need to think about how can you seek input into your projects much earlier, and how do you validate that input up front. Let's go on to digital superpower number 3, which is flexible manufacturing. This is about having the perfect blend of integrated manufacturing, hybrid manufacturing, automated manufacturing, and distributed manufacturing within your supply chain. And the answer isn't to develop one or two of them. It's just to develop the right balance of those capabilities depending on what your customers need. Now, the benefit of getting much more flexible in your manufacturing, according to McKinsey, is you can see like an agile product development approach has all sorts of impacts of, yes, on efficiency, customer satisfaction, and performance, but you can see a significant boost in those critical factors. So this is worth investigating and looking into. And that's the journey that Bright Engineering, BAC, and Ganas went down. They decided that flexible manufacturing was going to be their superpower. And they invested in it and got some amazing results. And they did it by looking at how much manufacturing could be integrated into our design processes. Do we always look at just mass producing by subtractive manufacturing, or always default to additive manufacturing, or could we look at a hybrid of the two? Where does it make sense to automate manufacturing? And then where does it make sense to develop a distributed manufacturing process? So if this is a superpower you want to investigate, these are the sorts of things that we would need to talk to you about. We move on to the 4th superpower, which is what we call customer experience. And this is about changing the relationship that you have with your customers from a transactional buy, sell, supplier, customer relationship to one of a much more strategic partnership where you become sticky and critical to your customers' ecosystem. And it's worth investing in customer experience because it can lead to an increase in sales and sales conversion rates. It could definitely lead to a decline in service costs. It could also lead to an improvement in your customer satisfaction. And those sound like awesome superpowers to develop inside any organization. And that's the journey that Hosokawa went down, Siemens, and even Skoda. Customer experience was the thing that they felt would set them apart from their competition. So they chose to invest in it and experience some pretty amazing results. And they did it by really understanding what their customers value beyond price and quality and delivery. They looked at the life cycle of that customer relationship and looked at every point they could really deliver those values to that customer consistently across the life cycle of their transaction or the life cycle of their relationship. And that is what generated some of the results they have. So if this is a digital superpower that you are looking to consider, think about what it is your customers value more than just price and speed and quality and delivery, and think about how you could deliver that to them digitally, consistently over the lifetime of your relationship, of your transaction. And so we finish off on the fifth and final digital superpower, which we call smart services. And now this is really the idea of putting data right at the center of your business and using it to generate a series of insight-based value-add services to your internal and your external stakeholders. Now, internal stakeholders could be a different department that you work with. You have to provide information to. Your external stakeholders could be your customers, it could be your supply chain. But we look at stakeholders through those very specific lenses. So it's about putting data at the center of your business. It's about developing insight-based services you could add and develop as a result of that. And it's worth investing in because research shows that if you put data into your business, you can enjoy growth rates that fall into the double digits. And also it develops a level of business stability for your organization, which are awesome superpowers. So I've had a message pop on my screen. Awesome superpowers that any company would want to develop. And that's the journey that Dormakaba went on and Steve Vick International. So Dormakaba in particular went from being a provider of individual door access systems to a provider of networked access systems, because they connected all of the data from these systems and they were able to really help develop a much better service to their customers, setting themselves apart from anyone else, growing and having a level of business stability that they previously didn't enjoy. Same with Steve Vick International, who were just pipe system manufacturers, but used data to spot trends to develop a brand new product and a service offering, which they wouldn't have spotted if they just focused on their traditional business line. And they did it by not just censoring up all their products. The first thing you need to do is put your data together, because you can't apply automations or artificial intelligence to your data. You can't get into the world of IoT unless you have a data strategy. And what we see is many of our customers have terabytes of existing data inside their organization, but they just haven't put it in one place centrally and to start to leverage it properly. The second thing then is you need to get really good at drawing insight from the data. Then that forms the foundation of a broader strategy that could go into artificial intelligence and the use of AI to analyze your data, or it could even go into the world of IoT. But this is exactly the same thing that those customers went through. So to finish off, our recommendation, what manufacturing is going to look like in the future, isn't how it used to look like about 10 years ago. Successful manufacturers will be using one or a number of these digital superpowers. Whichever one they choose to start with really depends on where they are today, where they need to be, and what's going to stop them getting there. Now, we've been delivering these superpowers to our customers for decades, first of all through point solutions, then through collections, then we made those collections available through subscriptions, and then finally we're innovating again, and we're going to extend the capabilities of our entire portfolio to our customers and their ecosystems through the power of platform. And if you're in the design and manufacturing space, that platform will be coming to you as Fusion Industry Cloud. And what Fusion Industry Cloud is a collection of cloud-enabled workflows, which is built on a common data environment that will help you help you take care of the critical things in your business, like concept design, like engineering, like production, like operations, like collaboration. It connects to our existing portfolio so that you can expose some of the key and cool things you've done with our existing technologies through that data model to anyone in your network. And of course, it has a bunch of APIs in it that will allow you to customize and personalize the platform to develop specific applications that are unique to you that would add significant value to your customers. So to summarize, don't start with technology. Manufacturers of the future, the successful manufacturers of the future, will start by assembling the right people in their organization. They'll have a great conversation with those people about where are they today, where they need to be, and what's stopping them getting there. And then they will dive into the 5 digital superpowers and pick the 1, 2, or 3 that would most impact where they need to be in the future. And then, of course, they would choose the right strategic partner to work with. Now, we would love to be that strategic partner for you. And if you're interested in having this conversation with us, then I'd encourage you to reach out to the team at GRAITEC, and we'd be happy to come in with you and have this discussion with you. So with that, I'll hand back over to Philippe and see if there's any questions.
Thank you, Asif. Thank you so much. It was very clear and full of information. I learned a lot myself, so thank you for this presentation. We start to get some questions in the chat. I see a question from Ebenezer. So I'm going to read it loud. How can a venture in other parts of the world adopt and integrate these products in our works with challenges to historical data?
Okay, let me see first if I understand the question. So I think what I'm hearing is that if there's a company somewhere else in the world, how can they access some of the technologies we were talking about? And what I'm not clear about is the challenges to historical data. So maybe what you're saying is, how do you adopt new technologies and take your legacy data with you? I think that's what the question is. Now, please excuse me if I've misunderstood the question, but based on that, what we see often is, the challenge is moving from system A to system B. Let's say like product X to product Y. And that's because product X has a certain file format, product Y has a certain file format. What's buried behind the file format is information. So if I took a CAD model or a machine tool path, is it the actual G code that I want to transfer, or is it the information in the G code? Is it the CAD model, the geometry, or is it the information behind the CAD model that is useful to me? And our experience shows it's the latter. Moving forward through a platform approach, exposing that information to the data model inside Fusion Industry Cloud will allow you to leverage all of your existing legacy data and still use it to move forward without the limitations of being stuck in a certain CAD system or a CAD tool or a CAM system or a CAM tool. So I hope that's answered the question, Ebenezer, but please message us in the chat and tell us if that's not correct. Philippe, I think you're still on mute.
Oh, yeah, sorry. Thank you, Asif. You have good eyes. Yeah, I was saying it was I have the same understanding of the question. So I think your question was clear, and hopefully Ebenezer got the answer to his question. Okay, and I think that's it. So I want to remind participants that I shared some very good links in the chat with you. One of them goes to a landing page where you will find a long list of podcasts which are very good to hear. So feel free to have a look at this page. And I also dropped another link with about an article which summarizes everything just presented as Asif. And it looks like we are good with the answer we gave to Ebenezer, because I see a thumb up. So thank you for your feedback. Okay, so anything else you would like to add, Asif, or what do you think?
No, thank you for the opportunity to share with you, and just remind any of the customers that are listening, if you're interested in having this kind of collaborative conversation with us, please reach out to your GRAITEC account manager, and we'd be happy to come in and sort of talk to you about the next step in your digital transformation journey.
Yeah, thank you, Asif, for that. Indeed, at GRAITEC we have experts who can help you in your digitalization process, give you some recommendation, provide training, services, consulting as well. We are located all around Europe, in the UK, in Germany, in France, and many other countries. And we are also in the North America, in the US, and Canada through GRAITEC and Applied Software as well. So we are here to hear from you and to help you achieve the best business outcomes for sure. So thank you so much, Asif. It was a pleasure and really an honor for me to have you as a guest speaker. Thank you for presenting live. Again, it's always a little bit challenging to present live, but this was so great to hear from you live. So thank you so much for that. And I would like to give a big thank you to all our participants as well, and talk to you soon. Thank you, everyone. Bye. Bye, Asif. Thank you so much.